What is up, everybody? It is your boy Triple G93 here, giving you another commentary game of Halo Wars 2. So, given the map, we are playing a team war, 3 versus 3, and I am playing as Pavium. Yellow, if I'm not mistaken, is playing as Anders, and then red is playing as Cutter. Maybe, not entirely sure. I don't remember that part, but the way I started off was building in additional grunts so I can go ahead and get additional resources that are scattered around the map. My goal is to try and get the middle expansion at the bottom, then get mega turrets to then go ahead and see if I can pressure Light Blue's base accordingly. And so that's the game plan for it. Will it turn out that way? We will just have to wait and find out. So I think that this build order is pretty strong for what it is. I think by the time that supply depot comes out, we'll be able to get our gen. Nope, we are about 75 resources short. So definitely could have grabbed the resources a little bit better in regards to priority, but that's totally okay. And so with our grunts, we're gonna just go ahead and get ourselves ready to take that node as well. And now we're going to make a chopper to go ahead and scout and see what the enemy is going to end up doing. The theory behind this is if I'm able to see if they're being aggressive or not, that's going to determine if I'm going to need a raid camp or how fast I'm going to go ahead and expand in general. So just given that I'm already getting my second extractor done, we can go ahead and get that war console up to get that Pavium leader, because he's going to be crucial in this plan as a whole. And so we're going to send our chopper out to go ahead and check that expansion base, and we're going to have the remainder of our grunts set up to get ready to start going after the sentinels to get the nodes. So all in all, it's a very calm early game so far. 2 minutes in, nothing too crazy. A little bit of a misclick because now we have our grunts being engaging on those sentinels in a different order than what I would like. Some more damage for the grunts will be taken, which is a little bit unfortunate, but not much we can do. We're going to keep producing some grunts, and there's our chopper. This has shown us that as of right now, he's not showing anything aggressive. It's definitely a full econ build, and I am going war console, so that's going to make things interesting. He is producing a bunch of marines though. That is something to keep in mind of. So I'm going to go ahead and get that second point set up for the burnout, so then I'll be able to use it. I don't really get mega turret until the third point, just given that I think it's pretty strong to do it then, because you're not really going to need a mega turret early, so might as well take advantage of the burnout additional resources that you get for it. And so I'm going to go ahead and start setting myself up, because I know there's an economy build that's happening right now, and blue doesn't look like they're doing anything too threatening, as well as green. And so now we're going to start getting ourselves ready for the next phase. And so there's the first sign. So their Anders went that sentinel point, so they're going to start making sentinels, and that's my cue to go ahead and keep trying to make grunts to go ahead and try and fight whatever shows up over here. And so we're going to try and just keep going back and forth here until our Pavium comes in. And look at that. It turns out light blue was able to sneak a marine into that garrison at the top, which is quite unfortunate. So we're still going to go ahead and try and get a good push in. We got a great Y move by our Pavium that's going to do a lot of damage to the marines as a whole. And so that's going to help us hold this base. But I do want to see if I can go ahead and continue to pressure that as much as possible. So we get rid of the war console, and now we're going to go ahead and try and push just a little bit. And we just got our Y move ability for the grunts, and now we're going to go ahead and try and get this power node associated with it. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and try and clear out the base and the extra garrison point that was gathered over there. And so now we're trying to get ourselves ready to try and defend this, because light blue is still right by the node, and this is going to be pretty interesting in this regards on how we're going to take this engagement, because we really just have grunts. I totally forgot about the infantry that's in those garrisons, so they're able to see any streamlined reinforcements that's coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to try and capture the node, and we'll see what I'll be able to do. And we're going to keep our grunts gathered up pretty well, but there you go. You got more sentinels, and I got the grunts coming in, but a Spartan slam comes down and hits a good majority of our grunts right now, which makes things a little bit unfortunate in that regard. And snipers are being made too, so that's my cue to go ahead and retreat. I have overstayed my welcome. Definitely should have fell back. I tried doing a Y move with the Pavium, so then I could do a Y move with the grunts, but horrible micro by myself to not allow that to happen. And so Pavium's going to keep on trying to do as much damage as he can, but he definitely does need to start retreating. So I'm going to put him on that garrison. We're going to go ahead and get a foundry because we're going to need some reavers. And now they're getting a good push in. So the fact that I didn't even retreat my grunts to back up my Pavium since he's on the high ground is a little bit unfortunate. And so I'm taking an engagement that's going to be kind of alright because I'm getting rid of the additional sentinels, which is good. But he is producing a lot more than what I would like. And so there goes the first mega turret that I'm going to end up getting for the points, not in regards to actually building the mega turret just yet. And we are in Tech 2, and so we're trying to get the armory back up, and we're going to start making reavers. Our Pavium is going to be sitting just nice over there at the top. We're going to see if we can get anything to help reinforce him whatsoever, but with those snipers that are chilling right there, it's going to be relatively hard for us to go ahead and do anything about this. And our Pavium's just taking a whole bunch of damage. I'm trying to get him to retreat, but with 4 snipers, that's going to just be a lot of damage output that's going to be happening as a whole right now, which is quite unfortunate. And so we're stuck in a very tough spot here. We could have definitely done a lot better on the early game, but we kind of collapsed in that regards. And so yes, all we have is a Reaver to go ahead and try and defend, and there goes the Sentinels being used for the ability, which is quite unfortunate. So I was still trying to produce some grunts to go ahead and help me out, but it does look like it's not really going to work. So I'm doing the spin to win in order to try and save my Reavers as much as possible. Don't want it to take that much damage. And there it goes, that grunt, those infantry that are on those garrison is still doing a spectacular job on that side, which is quite unfortunate. And Pavium is starting to be made all over again. So we're going to go ahead and do a burnout at the bottom to go ahead and get that leader out a lot faster, as well as just getting the additional power that we're going to need since we're going to be producing some Reavers. And so now we're going to go ahead and self-destruct one of the foundries to go ahead and get an air pad. And now we're going to start moving on to the next phase. So the Reaver's trying to do as much damage as it can, but we're just going to go ahead and retreat for now. And we're going to make our first mega turret that's going to be on the side. We don't really even have a shield gen just yet, but we're going to make a turret before we make the shield gen. And now that mega turret's going to start working on the garrison unit, which will be quite nice. We're going to go ahead and get that vehicle upgrade, because I do feel like 3 Reavers will be good enough to stop anything that shows up in that regards. But I do know I need an air pad. The reason why is because I want to start getting shrouds and start going air, because we're going against an Anders, and when you're playing Anders, siege is a viable strat as a whole. And so I went and self-destructed the shield gen in order to go ahead and save some resources, and now the Spartan is back over here, and I have to start running for my life with these Reavers. I don't really want them to get captured by the Spartan. That would be very unfortunate. And so now we're going to go ahead and try and go for a nice Y move, which we did for the Spartan, and a great hell drop that ends up going down as well to get rid of the remainder of the snipers if we can. But it does look like we're able to help recover the base. We're going to get our mega turret up, and we're going to get that shield gen up. We're going to upgrade our leader as well. And now we're starting to make some air because I know that we need to. And so now at this point, we're going to have to try and defend to the best of our ability until that shield gen comes up. We do have double air pad, which is going to be pretty nice to double produce air units. And now we're also going to create some locusts to go ahead and try and deal with additional range if we can go ahead and do so. But there we go, siege has started, and so now the sentinels are also popping up as well. So it's not looking good for us. There is a little bit of siege, and meanwhile there's a whole other fight going on between green and blue with yellow and red. So they do have a Pavium on their side, which is dark blue, and they have a very excellent position at that mini base where they're able to get the additional damage. I mean the additional mega turrets on those main mini bases, which is quite unfortunate. So we're going to go ahead and put on burnout once again. We're going to get the upgrade for the mega turret, and then we're going to go ahead and get additional units out. Siege is starting to become a problem, but it does look like we have a good amount of shrouds now to go ahead and at least warrant some of the siege that's happening right now, but it's still a tough situation as a whole. And so I'm going to go ahead and go for full salvage, and red is coming in to help reinforce, to help clear out the siege that is occurring over there. And even though their Spartan is down here, it looks like all this is going to end up dying, which is going to be very, very nice. And so Spartan is dead, and their siege is pretty much null and void, and that's going to be my cue to go ahead and try and keep pushing to see what additional push do we have that we can go for as a whole. And so we're going to keep this pressure up, and we're going to see how much damage we can get done with what we have. We don't really have much like base damage whatsoever, but there we go. We have Reavers killing some Nightingales. We do have some Sentinels going down as well. We want to go ahead and try and target this siege, because this siege is going to be the biggest problem for us as a whole, honestly. Cloak does go down, which is going to be very nice. The fact that my army is sitting down there. And now we're going to go ahead and keep making some Locusts as well. We do want to get some more Banshees. We are on Tech 3 now, which is going to be very nice. And with this extra Shroud that's helping us out, that's just going to help with the tech. And we're just going to try and do as much damage as we can towards the units that are over there as a whole. We're going to send that Grunt to try and capture that node. And we're still trying to do some damage, but we don't really have some great base damage, unfortunately. And the Reavers are helping in that regards, and we are getting a very good like push as a whole, but unfortunately it's still a tough spot. Their Spartan comes out, and we just don't really have enough to go ahead and do something about this, which is quite unfortunate. So we're going to get ready to start retreating, and for whatever reason my Pavium said nope, did not want to come and join me. And so now I'm going to go ahead and see if I can assist my teammates over here. They're in a very tough spot. Yellow's base is being pressured really hard, and they're trying to take good engagements over there, but they're definitely breaking that side. And so now we're going to go ahead and try and send whatever reinforcements that we have over there, because I know that light blue is in a situation where he can't really push me anytime soon. It's unfortunate that my Pavium is going to die because poor microwave by me, but we're going to bring in our Banshees to go ahead and try and help as much as possible. We're going to keep making more Banshees as well. In order to have a little bit of defense, we're going to make some Reavers, and of course make those additional Shrouds. And so my Banshees have gotten over here, but it doesn't really look like they're doing much, honestly. But we do have a leader ability that we can use if things get relatively worse. The Reavers are going pretty well over there, honestly, which is quite unfortunate. But we're at least going to be able to clear out the mini base that's associated with green over at mid. At least for now anyways. And so Siege is still working relatively well. Would have loved to have kept that node. Could have definitely had those Banshees come in there to try and stop them from capturing it. And then Pavium's ability ends up going down for the enemy. And it just does not look very good at all right now. And so light blue cleared out all my army that was at mid, unfortunately. Was not paying attention to that, and there's just a great push that's just happening over here, and our yellow teammate just ended up losing his base as a whole, which is another quite unfortunate thing that ended up happening. So trying to make some rates and trying to just see what I can do. I'm in like a weird economy situation where I don't really feel like I have enough resources or supply to keep up with what I'm trying to make. I haven't really been at a full pop for quite some time, but we did upgrade our base to go ahead and put a mega turret at that bottom left, because right when I said at the beginning of this game I want to go ahead and see if I can do siege on the enemy's main base to see if we can do something about that. I'm going to pop a Shroud because that Spartan was cloaked and he was trying to get as much like damage as he can when he was garrisoned, and that's just not going to happen in my book. So things aren't looking too hot on our teammate's side. Yellow unfortunately lost his second base, as what I mentioned. Now they're starting to go Wolverines, which is going to be something as well. And now it's just me trying to get myself a decent enough army such that I can fly my army over to then be able to hit light blue's base on the other side. So we're gonna poke a Banshee to see what we can see over here, and if there's anything worth pushing at the moment. And look, he's already prepared. He has a watchtower with some turrets associated with it, and even though the mega turret can hit it, it's still going to be a little bit hard, especially once it gets anti-air turrets, now that I showed my Banshee over there. And so we're still making as much Banshees as possible, and now we got ourselves a big engagement over here by light blue, but it does look like the mega turrets are helping out. The Banshees are trying to do as much damage as possible. We're going to go ahead and fall back because there's just so much sentinels going on right now. But it does look like we are able to kind of wipe out the enemy over here. But now green has shown up over here as well. And so now I'm stuck in a situation where there's a 2v1 and I need to try and hold off to the best of my ability. Fortunately, none of them really have something that's going to be incredibly threatening. But now they're starting to set up siege, which will become a problem down the line. And so we're going to have to decide when we want to go ahead and push. So I want to get additional power because I am a little bit power hungry. And we used burnout once again, and we're going to go ahead and try and get rid of that siege that's right there. And they keep resetting my Banshee count every single time, which is quite unfortunate. So we're just going to keep on trying to push with what we've got. I do feel like we did a lot of damage in this regards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call down Pavium's leader, and then I'm going to go ahead and send my units down to the bottom to see if we can get something going, because right now all he really has is a lot of siege. He doesn't really have anything else that's really threatening towards me, and so we're gonna go ahead and just keep this push going. Yeah, we didn't have the Banshees to float over, but we have a decent ground and air army, and now with the Pavium's ability we're going to be able to make locusts on the spot to be able to get more base damage. And now we have vultures showing up as well, which is going to be a very huge move. So this is just a full-on dive. We felt like we had to, because if we look at the minimap, blue and green are bouncing on red's second base and ends up also destroying his base at one point. I think so. We'll find out. I didn't see the notification for that. I missed red that. And so there goes the cursor. Yep. Red's trying to hold off to the best of his ability over there with the 2v1 that's happening over here. And we do have 3 vultures that are over here with a lot of damaged units. And so Wolverines are being made. They do have anti-air turrets. And so now it's just our turn to try and do as much damage as possible and try and take light blue out of this game if possible. Locust is doing good. We're going to just focus down on the base. We're going to Y move it. We're going to do rain of fire. I guess we're not good. There it is. There's the rain of fire. And we're just going to try and focus it down as much as possible. Don't know why that Locust is choosing to stand right over there, just poor microing by me. A slow heal is going down and it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get it. Heavy metal goes down as well on the base, and we were able to get the base. I don't even know how, but we were able to. And so now light blue does not have a base whatsoever. We've managed to take out light blue on that commitment. Like, I barely have any supply. I have barely any pop. This was just an all or nothing push that we ended up going through. And because of that, green has to start falling back, which is allowing red to start getting a little bit more momentum on his side. And the Sentinel is there as well, which is going to be quite beautiful. And there you go, light blue has been eliminated. This was just quite the play, the fact that we were able to make a move like this. And so the Sentinel is there. I'm trying to do as much damage. My goal is to try and back that up as much as possible. As you can see, I'm hurting in just the resource department. Even though I thought I would have like a decent economy, but apparently I don't. So we're here to just fend off green as much as possible. The Sentinels are doing damage. We don't really have anti-air, but we do have at least enough to be able to continue to threaten this side. And there you go. There's a cloak base on this side. So it looks like blue shifted over to mid to grab that base while green grabbed the other one. It was actually pretty well executed. So with that cloaking gen, we can't really do much about it. But like I said, we can keep on trying to make the engagements that we can be to keep shortening the army, because red was making momentum, but still being locked down by blue right now, right? Blue has the mega turrets going on that mini base, and there goes a big drop by Cutter. I want to be able to see if I can do something about it, but it looks like the Pavium's actually just going to end up going down. White move is going to go ahead and get popped. But really and truly, that Pavium is just going to end up going down. And we're floating a lot of power, but we're still hurting in the supply department. And so now we're just going to go ahead and try and make some rates. We're going to try and mix anything that we can at this point. And it does look like yellow is trying to show up with the Sentinel to go ahead and try and help their teammates out. A bunch of vultures are doing Y moves everywhere to see if they can go ahead and keep reducing Pavium's army as much as possible. And even though this is a 3v2 situation now, they still have a better economy, and they have just more units out on the field at all times. So I went and self-destructed one of my Apex to go double foundry, so we can just focus more on the vehicle game and make shrouds when need be. And we're going to get some more rates. And yes, vehicles aren't level 2 yet, and I'm still floating so much power. We're going to go ahead and try and just fall back now and try and break this situation that's just happening over here. And so they were able to clear that mini base that had those mega turrets, which is going to be very important on the counter push if we're able to get there. But my goal is to go ahead and try and send whatever reinforcements as possible. We got this third base up and we got a bunch of supply pads. So we can go ahead and get more supply associated with this, since that's the thing that's been hurting us the most. And so now we're just going to go ahead and fall back and see if we can rendezvous with an army that's going to be strong enough to push both of them back. This is the last ditch effort for defense. If we're able to hold this out, we're going to be in a very good spot. And so burnout was used to help with the resources. And here comes the move in general. Light blue and green is showing up. A beautiful rain of fire is coming down. A great mine to help slow that stuff down, so all that stuff starts melting as a whole. Cutter is calling his ability down. I don't have much, just a couple Banshees and a Wraiths, but we're going to go ahead and drop a slow heal on top of a heal. Vulture Y moves are coming down as well. And now we just have big engagement going on. They get some of their army cloaked from the shroud at the top, but my Reavers have shown up to give a little bit more detection. And then an Inferno goes down, so it looks like red was actually Cassano, not Cutter. Surprise, surprise. And we're just trying to kill as much units as we can. Pavium is finally coming in here as well. And it does look like all this stuff is going to end up melting. And we're going to end up barely holding off on this side. Y move is being popped on the Spartan. And the Vulture is getting hit with the Y move as well. Our teammate keeps getting disconnected from the party for whatever reason. And now things are looking very well. Getting advanced logistics. We're going to upgrade that base some more because we have so much power. But I never really had a full army. Like, it's just been such a tough game all in all. And there goes blue trying to get mega turrets set up over here. And now we've just set up and posted up on blue's base. And I don't think there's much they can do at this point. They need to go ahead and try and hold this and, I mean, make one last big push effort to try and take out yellow. But yellow was the one with the second additional base, so even if they took him out, we would have been okay in that regards. And then red is the one with the single base, but he was able to keep his air units alive with the Vultures and the Nightingales, which was pretty huge. And so now that we have ourselves a pretty good army and we were able to rebound, and it's a 2v3, blue ends up leaving the game, which green will follow suit nevertheless. So I thought this was a very cool game to go ahead and show. Like, we turned the tides pretty well in a very dire situation. Never really had a full pop, made a lot of issues and mistakes early on, but we were able to do it. And there you go, our teammate ends up getting disconnected from the game. Halo Wars ends up happening. But all in all, red and I are just going to go ahead and try and finish this up with the army that we have. I think it's good enough for us to be able to do so. It's strong enough. And so yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. I thought this one was actually quite interesting showing, especially on a 3v3 map that you don't see too often because of the fact that it is Team War and I usually play ranked. So with that being said, really hope you enjoyed this game. I thought once again it was just a very, very cool game on like just momentum swings in general. It definitely could have gone either way. It was a very cool, fun game as a whole. Shout out to the enemy team. They were very good. And our team just made small additional moves that just needed to happen to win. And so grateful for that. All in all, love this game. And hope you have yourself a splendid one, an amazing one. Thought I would have showed the stats by now. Here it is. I went 55 for 140. Remember, I did kill some Sentinels though. 66 for 91 by red and 75 for 67 by orange. So that efficiency game always comes in clutch, especially when you are hurting in supply the whole time. So have a good one. Have a splendid one. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time for the next commentary, you enjoy the rest of your day. Until next time, G out.